Hey everyone, Taylor from Chimera Gaming here, and today we've got a pretty special one for everyone. I've got a box of Time Spiral Remastered to open up here. It is the 16th today, Tuesday, and the set releases in 3 days. So a lot of really cool stuff in here. As some of you may know, they did a full list of old bordered cards in here. Things like Thoughtseize, True Name Nemesis, Kiki Jiki, Ponder, lots of uncommons like E-Witness and Ancient Stirrings, Sylvan Scrying, all stuff like that. So some pretty exciting stuff in this set. Obviously the foils are really what is kind of driving this set right now. I think the Thoughtseize was pre-ordering initially for like $600, which is absolutely absurd. But yeah, lots of really nice reprints, even just in the main set itself as well. Things like Gemstone Caverns, Swarm Yard, Vesuva. They did Tarmogoyf. They did Tarmogoyf, but they did it with the Future Sight art in a new border. It wasn't eligible for one of the old border reprints because it was in Future Sight, and they said they weren't doing anything from Time Spiral block. But this art exists. This art is not on any card in the set or anything. And it's very clearly with the two deer in front here. That's a pretty iconic Tarmogoyf thing. This art exists, but it is not used in anything. And I don't know why. So if anyone knows, please let me know below why this art exists and if they planned on using it for anything else or if it was just box art that they thought was cool. Yeah, not sure. But we're going to get right into this. I'm not going to go over any of the commons or anything. If you want, you can just check out one of the spoiler sites, or even Wizards of the Coast site itself will have the full set spoiler as well, now that we're just a few days away from the set being released. But hopefully we open some pretty sweet stuff, and thanks for joining me in this box. Let's get right into it. All right. Right off the bat there, I spoiled the fact that apologies. I've got my ringer on here. I'm going to quickly turn that off. Oh no. Please turn off. Cool. All right. We are good to go here. All right. Pack number one. We've got an extirpate to start things off. A nice little reprint. Some of the mill decks used to play that card as kind of like your fifth or sixth copies of Surgical Extraction. Pretty cool. And we've got an old bordered Reclamation Sage with a foil rare in Jaya Ballard Task Mage. Just one of the regular foil rares. Pretty neat. Oh, that's a pretty cool start. Not the best foil rare we could have got, but usually these boxes nowadays have been having 2, 3, sometimes even 4 foil rares, so I'm sure that will not be your only one. Magus of the Future and an old bordered Field of Ruin. That's pretty neat. And a foiled Dormant Sliver. Slivers is one of the archetypes they kind of supported, I'm assuming, for the draft format in this set. But there's not a whole lot of slivers in each individual color, and there's a lot of uncommons and a lot of rares. So I'm not 100% sure what that actually looks like in draft, if it's realistically a draftable archetype. But I know for us, at least, we're going to be saving a few of these boxes just to have around for a post-COVID time when everyone can actually partake in an in-person draft and be able to draft this set a couple times. It should be super sweet. It's one of the unfortunate things about kind of the social climate nowadays is not being able to draft all these super sweet sets that they've released, and being able to draft them on the online platforms. People have kind of realized like they're really, really good sets for limited, and it's a shame that people don't actually get to partake in them. Got a Magus of the Moon and a Passing Flames with the ugliest goblin token I have ever seen. That even, it almost looks more like a zombie than a goblin, but I'm gonna fire through some of these packs. Sudden Shock, one of my all-time favorites. Hivestone, something that can make the Slivers archetype work, and it just turns everything into Slivers. And Cube Staple in Mystic Confluence. I know specifically for Modern, this set has a ton of really high-value reprints for the format. Dryad Arbor, put those in the wrong pile. Dryad Arbor being one of those cards for decks like Boggles and even some of the Collected Company decks and things where you're actually using your creatures as mana sources as well. Got a Mortify and a Celestial Crusader. But me and TJ were actually just talking about the other day kind of how Modern has evolved or changed over the last, let's say, half a dozen years or so. I remember when I started playing Modern back in, I guess it was 2015 or 2016. Pretty cool bat token. We were kind of in the height of all the twin variants, things like Grixis Twin and Tarmo Twin were really prevalent those days. Infect was still a really big deck because you still had Gitaxian Probe. Tons of these decks that really just don't exist, at least in any recognizable way like they did before. And kind of unfortunate that cards like Uro dominated the format for pretty much a full year before it actually finally saw the banhammer. But even sets like Modern Horizons that really shift the power level of the format just by themselves kind of change the landscape, and almost unfortunate in the way that the format's changed so much over the years, because those were really, really fun days in Modern. Being able to play your Grixis Twin decks or Grixis Control. There was a version of Grixis Control that Patrick Chapin had come up with that had 4 Cryptic commands, 4 Snapcaster Mages, and you played like 3 or 4 Kolaghan's commands, so you could just keep on rolling through your Snapcaster Mages, and man, that was one of the most fun decks I had ever played. You couldn't ever beat Tron or any deck that kind of went over the top because you didn't have a fast enough clock. But even with that, all the fair decks that existed in the format, just even decks like Abzan just would get buried by Snapcaster Mages and Gurmag Anglers being the threat. There wasn't Assassin's Trophy back then, right? You only had Path to Exile and Maelstrom Pulse out of those decks, and if you were playing Jund, you didn't have a whole lot. I guess you had a couple Terminates maybe back then, but that was a glorious time. Tarmogoyf, just talking about that with the box art being different than the card art. And ooh, an old border Yawgmoth Ran Physician. That's really awesome. That is one of the better cards you can get. Looks really, really cool in the old border as well. Kavu, but not Flame Tongue, unfortunately. Ancestral Vision at Mythic in this set for whatever reason. And I can't remember the last time I've actually seen this card played in any format, but why they reprinted it at Mythic, I'll never quite understand. Old border Young Pyromancer for the legacy gurus out there. Right. Hopefully we can fly through this box pretty quickly. Keep it exciting. I want to hit some really, really nice old border foil. It'd be really awesome to hit a card like True Name Nemesis that just looks so nice with that old school border. Personally, I'm more of a fan of the new borders, but I know obviously this nostalgia for some of the people who have been playing the game for especially 15 plus years. This old border stuff really, really hits different. Dralnu, Lich Lord, and a Teamer Ascendancy. Pretty interesting one to see in the old border. I'm assuming this card still sees quite a bit of commander play. I know when it was in standard, there was a combo deck that used it, and there's one of the ferocious creatures, secret plans from the same block. Ferocious, or can't remember it. I'm pretty sure it was a creature from Fate Reforged that you could bounce it over and over with Temur Ascendancy to keep on drawing through your whole deck. Tombstalker, nice little reprint there. Paradoxical Outcome as our old border, really, really nice. And Sengir Nosferatu as another foil rare. Never once seen that card in my life. One of the cool cycles that they reprinted in here, Dreadship Reef. I remember playing one of those in that Grixis control deck I was just talking about. Wasn't particularly good in that deck either. Rarely did you ever get more than a couple mana off of it, but it had its uses sometimes, and you didn't really have a lot of tapped mana or anything in the deck, and the mana base wasn't quite as powerful as they are nowadays. So yeah, you're kind of forced into playing some pretty weak cards. Epic Experiment, RTR Block Mythic. Lots of rare slivers in this set. Fungus Sliver, another rare sliver. Ooh. And we hit one of the first cards to be spoiled in the set in the old border, in Chalice of the Void. That is really awesome. That is definitely one of the better ones you can get as well. If only we hit that in foil, that would be super sweet. And Search for Tomorrow with brand new art. Pretty awesome. Pretty happy about that one. That's a nice hit. Sarah Avenger, D&T. Ancient Den, the only artifact land that saw an old border reprint in this set. For the Pauper fanatics out there. Did those get banned in Pauper? I don't think they did. But I guess it's possible. I have not paid attention to Pauper in a little while now. Liliana's Triumph, the better Diabolic Edict that came out just before Modern Horizons came out. Or just after. Stuffy Doll, that's a big reprint. Pretty cool. Molten Rain for the Pawns of players out there. Red-green land destruction. A foil Errant Doomsayers. I think we're getting close to the last third of this box now. Haven't seen any old border foils yet. We still got some time. Muraganda Petroglyphs. Creatures with no abilities get +2/+2. And a Trinket Mage. Mono Blue Tron, a deck that used to be popular back in my initial days of playing Modern. Used to play a lot of Trinket Mages. Lotus Bloom, also the buy a box promo of the set in the old border foil. And Elvish Mystic, one of the first cards I fell in love with in the game. I think it was M14 or M15. Whatever set had Phyto Titan. I think that was M15. Playing with Elvish Mystic in that draft format was super fun. You could get some pretty sweet decks going, and Primeval Titan in our old border card there. That's a really big one. I know TJ is pretty hot after those. The big Amulet Titan fan, Escape Shift, all of those kinds of decks. Sliver Legion, that is a really nice one to pull. This card has been needing a reprint for quite some time. That is super awesome. Path to Exile and Ugly Goblin. Path to Exile, great card to see in the set in the old border. It's just kind of disappointing that we've seen so many different versions. Like it was a Grand Prix promo. It saw an F&M promo. Pretty sure it just recently saw a secret layer as well. It's just been printed so many times now that kind of loses its appeal with new versions. Like how many versions can you have of a card before it just kind of stop becoming exciting? Boom Bust, third foil rare. Angel's Grace, much needed reprint, especially for formats like competitive Commander. That card is just impossible to find nowadays. So it's really awesome to see that in this set. Glittering Wish and Knight of the Reliquary. That's a pretty cool one. There's cards like this that just don't see play in Modern anymore because they're just not powerful enough. It's kind of unfortunate to see cards like that go. Really did some cool things in the format for a while. Aeon Chronicler and a Bedlam Reveler. Another nice prowess card. Kind of excited to be able to pick up a couple of these myself for the blue-red prowess decks that are out there. Urborg, nice. That's another big reprint. This card was getting up to like 45 Canadian, I think it was. Move that down just a tad bit so you can actually see the pile. But yeah, really happy to see that card in the set. Kind of not happy as a store. I think Chimera had a good 20 or so copies of the card, but you know, it's good for the players, right? That's what matters. Got a Sedge Sliver, Lava Spike, little burn staple right there. I'm definitely going to be picking some of those up for myself now that I've moved away from the foils. And we're down to about 5 more packs here. We're getting close to the end. There is an old border foil back there. Oh boy. We've got a Benelish Commander. Treasure Cruise. Pretty cool. 3/2. Is this Bloodbraid? It is. That's so cool. TJ is going to be a very happy boy with this one. Oh my god. I don't know if you can really tell. I think you can on the camera here, but they really foiled the bordering of the card, but not so much the image itself. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Hopefully they don't curl quite as bad as some of the recent foil printings out there. Well, it wasn't a true name or a Thoughtseize, but still a staple and something that I know someone in the store is going to really enjoy getting their hands on. Joyra of the Gitu. We've got a Master of the Pearl Trident and a Piracy Charm. Neat little card back in the day for the Infect Mirror when you used to side it in just so you could either kill the turn 1 Glistener Elf or the turn 1 Hierarch. It's pretty neat. Also, instant speed discard in blue. Flagstones. Pretty cool card. And a Beast Within. Down to 2 more packs here. If we hit another old border foil, that would be super sweet, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think we do have a foil in this pack, though. I peeked a little bit. Got pretty excited. We got a Slaughter Pact, Anger of the Gods. That's a really cool one to see in the old border, and an Assassinate. All right, Final pack. We might have another foil in this pack. I may have peeked. Oh, we definitely have a foil in this pack. I just saw the border, or not the border, sorry, but like the black on the very outside of the border. So I'm not sure if it's gonna be one of the old border cards, but I know those cards are really only like one a pack or one a box, pretty much. So I don't have too much faith. Walk the Aeons. Banishing Light. Oh, it is old border. Seb McKinnon. Ooh, look at that. A Vandal Blast. That's so cool. I was not expecting to get two of these in this box. Wow. So that's Bloodbraid Elf and Vandal Blast in this box. Not the most exciting hits you could get, obviously, but still really, really cool. Wow. Well, that is the box. I will make sure to get those in perfect fits. Don't worry, I'm not going to touch them again until I have perfect fits on hand. I didn't bring any in here with me, unfortunately, but I'm just going to quickly go through here, see some of the bigger hits that we got in this box. I'm not counting Ancestral Vision. That card should not be a mythic in here whatsoever. I'm not sure what the price is going to look like, what it's going to settle at for this card. I know it was sitting around $20-$25 Canadian, but I don't think it's going to stay up there with it seeing another reprint in this set. Got the Panharmonicon, that's pretty neat. Bedlam Reveler, Primeval Titan, the Chalice, obviously, that's pretty huge. Vintage for Paradoxical Outcomes, pretty cool, if not expensive. The Yawgmoth. And sure, we'll throw in the Confluence and the Passive Flames here. Oh, goodness. What am I doing? Oh. But yeah, some of the highlights for this box. Honestly, I think this box actually did pretty well. Like there are some heavy hits in here. Cards like Urborg and the Chalice, the Sliver Legion, Tarmogoyf. I don't know what it's gonna sit at now. It's been printed so many times. I remember the days when this card was $225. I had a little, I guess before I leave, I'll tell you, there was this moment in time where I had a summer job and I was making a lot of money, working a lot, and I was putting pretty much 80% of every paycheck into Modern specifically because I really wanted to buy into the format. And Modern Masters 2015 had just come out and it dropped the price of Tarmogoyf from like $230-ish Canadian down to about $160, $170. And I went into my local game store, Just by Chance Games at the time, and there was a buddy of mine, Kevin, that was in there with me, and I kind of decided when I walked into the store that I was just going to open packs of Modern Masters 2015 until I hit a Tarmogoyf. Awful idea, by the way. Don't ever do that yourself. The odds is like 1 in every 3 boxes that you would get a Tarmogoyf, 4 boxes. Awful decision. But I was very lucky to hit it pretty early on, so yay me. But I remember we were getting down to the last packs of the first box that I was opening packs from, and Kevin wanted to buy a pack. And so if he were buying a pack, we would have to open up the new box to get a pack for him. So the person behind the counter, they opened the box up for us and they put the one pack down, and I had my pack from the other box sitting in front of me. I was like, I haven't hit the Tarmogoyf from this box yet. Like, I don't want this pack. We're going to switch packs, Kevin. And he was like, fine, whatever. That was the pack that ended up having the Tarmogoyf in it. And he ended up opening an Ant Queen. It was one of the funnier moments. He was pretty tilted after that. He ended up just leaving and going home. Everything was fine. We were still friends after that and everything. But it was a pretty funny moment for me making such a bad choice and wanting to open packs until opening a Tarmogoyf, and then I essentially stole his Tarmogoyf. But yeah, thank you all for joining me and opening this video. This was a lot of fun. These cards are super, super sweet. I think people are kind of underestimating how cool this set actually is. Even if it didn't have a whole lot of hype coming into it, it's just so close to Strixhaven already, right? But I had a lot of fun opening this. I hope if you are buying boxes yourself that you open some sweet, sweet stuff, and a lot of really high quality reprints in this set. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. I hope to see you next time. See ya.